Call to order the City Council Special Study Session for July 20th, 2015. If you could have the roll call, Ms. Dixon.
Mayor Slater?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Campbell?
Here.
Councilmember Gottlieb? Councilmember Henderson?
Here.
Councilmember Hodrick? Here. Councilmember Pennington?
Here.
Councilmember Teets?
Here.
Councilman Gottlieb will be about 10 minutes late. We have one discussion item this evening, to review the public opinion survey. And I will turn the meeting over to City Manager Kishner.
Thank you, Mayor, City Council. About a year ago, we started our customer service initiative, and Councilmember Teets had given us some insight as to what Congressman Trott does and some of the ways that we could improve what we're doing, or at least test what we're doing and see where we were in terms of customer service. But what we found out once we turned the initiative over to Maggie Hughes and company, that it would become an Interaction Troy initiative that would be focused on external and internal customer service and interaction with customers and residents. So put the team together, we trained them and tested, just like it says. The team was first, the training was second, and the testing is third. And this isn't over. This is just the beginning of our Interaction Troy customer service. Everyone counts. Maggie's in charge of this initiative, and she's going to give the results today. But before she starts, I want you to know that there will be more training as we go along. There will be more testing as we go along. It's a pretty interesting process that they've come up with, where employees train groups of employees, and Maggie will talk more about that. So we will do more training, we will do more testing, and we will do more opinion mining as we go forward. So with that, Maggie Hughes is going to give the results as we know them today.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So like Brian mentioned, this is both an internal and an external portion to this presentation. So the first half that we're going to go over is that external public opinion survey. But to start, of course, we always say in Troy, we've done so many things many times. And one of the things we have done is ask input from our residents, and that was done in 1998 with an analysis of City of Troy resident attitudes towards communication issues and projects that may be funded by future bond issues, which was the title of the survey that we sent out, so keeping it short. But here are some of the fun results from that. The first is that 59% of respondents had access to the internet. That's compared to 73% of all U.S. households today that have broadband internet access. 47% were likely to use a Troy website, even though one did not exist, which my favorite one is next, because 54%, more than a website, would like to have a CD-ROM sent to their house, which they would then plug in the computer to get their information. So I thought that one was interesting. Instead of just going to the website that didn't exist. At this time also, the 79% were favorable. The topic of conversation was converting Troy High to the community center. Finding funding for roads has always been an issue. At this time, 83% would support a bond for road repair and maintenance. And 81% would support a bond for library technologies. To invest in CD-ROMs, internet, and the World Wide Web specifically. So we'll talk about this one again. So these are just some fun little statistics from 1998 when we were looking over at the survey. But in 2015, we decided to simplify it a little and just call it a public opinion survey. We conducted this survey in partnership with Oakland University. So OU helped us develop the survey and send it out to a sampling of residents. And the purpose of the survey was to gain interest and feedback on some of our programs and help with planning for the future. So here are some of those results. The first one, 50% of respondents had visited City Hall, and of those that visited, 54% had contact with a Troy employee, which I'm a little bit worried what the other 46% were doing in City Hall but didn't talk to anybody. So curious, more so than anything else, I guess. Of those interactions, 68% were very friendly, 68% thought their services were met quickly, and 72% thought that employees were professional. At the end of every section, there was an opportunity for general comments. Here, signage, department function, as well as names was something that was pointed out, and to go with that, have a greeter or information desk to direct you. One of our strategies is to modernize wayfinding opportunities. And another one of our strategies is to improve interactions online and in person. So it was really encouraging to see that the strategies that you all set at the retreat kind of match what our what our residents want to see from us. Next was public safety. 94% felt very safe or safe in the city, and some comments there where they want to see more police presence in the neighborhoods, and going along with that, seeing neighborhoods and perhaps with specific beats is how they described it. And finally, to improve safety, they thought more streetlights were a few comments on that. When we talked about public work services, 96% were satisfied or very satisfied with their trash collection. But most comments said around snow removal, 71% were satisfied or very satisfied. Please remember, this was in January through March, so right in the thick of the worst kind of the snow season. But most of the comments were generally positive, positive reactions. Another big focus was curbside recycling, that 85% of people participated, and then again, those comments were that they wanted to see the recycling program expanded, and then maybe use bigger, larger containers as well in the program. Roads, 71% that felt that the general condition of neighborhood streets was excellent or good, and of all streets, 50% they felt were excellent or good. So all over the city, general feeling was 50% excellent or good. And again, this is prior to Troy Road Route 2 and our continued investment in infrastructure. There were 3 roads that were highlighted as the top 3 roads that need repair. That was John R., South Boulevard, and Waddles.
So the good news is we're in the process of taking care of John R. and Waddles. In South Boulevard, as many people know, the county has given a proposal to the city of Troy and Rochester Hills, which we've accepted, conditional on the city council, and Rochester Hills has not spoken yet.
Move across Troy, kind of our trails and pathways and pedestrian friendliness. 78% of households felt this was very important or important. Again, reflecting making Troy more walkable and having trails and pathways, which is one of our strategies for this year. Some questions about the library. 60% of respondents had visited in the past year, and there the staff was helpful, 72% felt. 67% found what they needed, and 76% felt the facility was well maintained. Some comments over there is that they wanted to see some technology upgrades, maybe change the interior, it was a little dated. Again, this references that question in 1998, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast of technologies. We're always trying to keep up with it, and it's been the same for, since 1998. When we talk about amenities, we include things like the Troy Community Center, which 46% of respondents have visited in the past year. One of my favorite statistics, though, is of that 46%, 99% rated it as excellent or good. So that was a really positive one, and clearly we have a hidden gem there for a larger part of our population. Some other amenities were rated as well, including the Nature Center, which 96% said was excellent or good. The Aquatic Center, 94%. Historic Village, 94% as excellent or good. Sylvan Glen and Sanctuary Lake as well, with 90% at Sylvan Glen, and Sanctuary Lake is 88%. So overall, really high satisfaction with our amenities. We also looked at ways that we communicate with people. So the top 3 resources that people use to gather information is the Troy Today, local papers, and city website, which is things we keep in mind as we try and get our message out. But what they're looking for is maybe some sort of alert system, whether it's text, email, for emergencies, weather, and crime, and something a lot of people have commented on was maybe an app, incorporating those things together. And then at the end of the survey, we asked for some priorities, whether those were the challenges or the best things about living in Troy. And the top 3 challenges were the traffic congestion, the residential road repair, and the careless driving and speeding. And the best parts about living in Troy, was so many, of course, but the top 3 were the school systems, safest city, and its location in Metro Detroit. Okay. So that's kind of that external portion that we talked about, and the internal focus is really where the team train and test comes into play. So what this part, from here on out, what you're about to see was a presentation that was given to every employee in the city of Troy. My team, the Interaction Troy Committee, consists of these 7 other individuals. Both Aileen and Paul Evans are here today. And I just want to say thank you so much to them and to the other 5 that weren't able to come. They did an outstanding job, and it was a lot of work but such a priority, and they made it fabulous. So what this presentation is a collection of our kind of secret shopper testing. Every department is represented. Every department did things that were good and things that were not so good. And we just really wanted everyone to take ownership of this and see how much of a priority for us it was. So we started off this presentation with the why statement because we want to remind people why we're here. It's not a mission, it's not a vision statement, it's why we do what we do. And that comes down to we believe in doing government the best. And serving people is one of the most important parts of that statement. So what was the testing? We did 3 rounds of secret shop phone calls and asked 3 different questions to every department. The first was a series of FAQs. The second was an angry caller asking to speak to the mayor. And finally, some general questions purposely asked to the wrong department to see how those were handled. And here are the results. Again, every department is represented here. So the first is that 90% of people answered on the first or second ring, which was excellent. If it wasn't the first or second, it was always the third. People included their department name 95% of the time, so that would be city manager's office. But only 45% of people included their first name. So when we first started doing the training, this wasn't a priority. We didn't say you had to say your name, but when we did the testing, we noticed that it made a huge difference and made that person so much more relatable that we're going to encourage this as a standard moving forward. 60% of people were perceived as friendly, helpful, or positive. At first glance, it's pretty good, but then we said, if you got 60% on a test, would you be happy or not so happy with that? I feel like this is an area we can improve on. So the FAQs, which is that first round of questions, only 11% knew the answers right away to those. So each employee has access now for sure, but hopefully always had access to a phone book. On page 5 and 6, we have the FAQs, and then on 6 and 7, we have some quick reference guides. So the 14 questions are listed right here. So when we call, our hope was that they would know the answer right away. It was 11% eventually found the answer. Unfortunately, I think it took longer than we would like to have seen. So now by going into every single department to make sure all employees got this training, they know where to look for these answers. So we're not bouncing someone around who has a question about a dog license. We can answer that no matter who they call. We update this every 3 to 4 months. So in 3 to 4 months, we'll have 14 or 15 new FAQs. So we're constantly training and educating our employees on what we think is important. And the big focus for this was cold transferring. So 38% of phone answerers did a cold transfer. It's really important to read what that is. So it's transferring without speaking to someone first, not giving background information, not verifying you're transferring to the right place. If your problem or question has been asked, just saying transfer is insufficient. So we've all called a company and been bounced around 8 times and explained our problem 8 times, and by the time we get to the right person, we're so frustrated that I've had to tell my story 8 times. So what we want to eliminate here is making sure we get all the information we can from a caller, transfer them to the right person, and explain what the problem is. So that if someone calls and is like, my neighbor has such tall grass and I can't stand it anymore, it's 6 feet tall. I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me transfer you to Paul Evans. He's in our planning department. He'll be able to help you out. Do you mind if I put you on hold? So I put the caller on hold and I call up Paul and I go, hey Paul, it's Maggie. Got a transfer call for you. Their neighbor has grass that's 6 feet tall, okay? This is what's coming to you. He goes, awesome. He picks it up, he goes, planning department, this is Paul. I heard you have a problem with your neighbor's grass. So now right away that guy knows, wow, this person already knows what my problem is. I know they're gonna be able to help me. So this is what we're gonna be focusing on a lot moving forward, and hopefully it'll really improve our customer service. So the second part, again, we took some direct quotes so that we could show our employees that exactly what people did that was good and what people did that was not so good. I'm not sure on that. Do you mind if I put you on hold so I can find out? This references one of our top target habits for interaction, which we developed over the past 5 months, that every employee has. It says, it's okay to say, I don't know, but let me find out for you. We'd rather make sure people get the right information than give someone something we're not sure about. So it's okay to say, I'm not sure, I'll put you on hold. How can I help you? Is there any additional information you could give me? Maybe I can answer your question, so delve a little deeper. I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me see who the best person for you to talk to is. Do you mind if I put you on hold? Asking them if you can put them on hold, walking them through your process, keeping them informed. That's actually not this department. I'll have to transfer you. Sounds pretty good, right? But if you go, that's actually not this department, I'll have to put you on hold. Not so good. So this is when we really talked about tone. And if you have a smile behind your tone, it's gonna come across to that person. So, oh, that's actually not this department, I'll have to transfer you. It could be really good if you said, oh, I'm sorry, you know what, you're actually gonna need to speak with Paul. Do you mind if I put you on hold and transfer you? Then it's excellent. I'm pretty sure you can just look that up in Troy Today. That's great, but that's not why they're calling us. They need our help, so let's try and give it to them. One moment, cold transfer. Yeah, I don't know, I've never gotten that question in this department. So a lot of times what we realize is when people call the city, they don't know who they need to talk to. We get all the time, you know, I'm not sure who I'm supposed to talk to, but is it okay if I ask you? Of course it's okay if you ask us. We'll help you get to the right answer. So letting them know that you've never gotten that question doesn't help anybody. And finally, how should I know? You do realize which department you called, right? So that's an actual quote, and that one stings, and it stung every single person that saw this presentation. I'm sure Paul and Aileen can attest that when everyone saw this, they were embarrassed. They were disappointed that one of their peers would treat someone this way. And which was our goal with showing this one. It's hard to see, but we want people to take ownership and say, I would never do that, and I hope you wouldn't do that either. So the second part, what we showed to the employees who went around with this presentation was the external comments. So these are pulled from the public opinion survey and are what outside people thought. So none of the testing, just the general impressions. Troy does a great job. That's awesome. We find one great. We'd love to hear it. More coffee for phone representatives, so they continue to be beautifully professional, helpful when I phone. A little bit of sarcasm there, I think, in that comment, but generally saying that, you know, be upbeat, be happy, always be that way, because maybe sometimes you're not. Treat customers as your employee. That's kind of hard, as your employer, excuse me. That can be hard to hear, but it's a reality of our business. You know, my tax dollars pay your salary, so you work for me. Approach some people with that attitude, because that's how they're coming at you. We just wanted people to be aware of it. It's hard to hear, but it's our reality. Again, could smile, answer questions in a friendly way. Again, it's just so easy. Even if you want to punch the person behind that, you're just smiling and happy, and it can fake it till you make it. Paul has some great stories though in his presentation. Him and Mavita were giving his presentation, always had a really great personality behind it, and with their stories, it really hit home. We get inconsistent answers. Again, this references our target habits for interaction of saying, I don't know, but I'll get back to you. And finally, people need to be nicer. So now what? We did two things with this now. We did leave this at the end of every presentation because we wanted people to know that we're going to continue to test and we're going to continue to train. We got a lot of really great feedback after this presentation. That's kind of going to help guide us over the next year because this is an ongoing process. We know what our priorities are for employees, and we kind of saw from their feedback what our direction should be. The second part of this now what is with the public opinion survey. So the public opinion survey we're going to take to the retreat this year, and we're going to look at those general comments and ask department heads and ask city council, like, what are your ideas with them? I know when I was going through it, I was like, wow, I'd never thought of that. We could really do that. It would be awesome. So we'll take this to retreat and hopefully get some good ideas and good feedback of practical things that we can try. So are there any questions?
Your book that you have, and all the questions that you have at the beginning of the book, how do those questions come to be?
Yeah,
Based on what?
so we posed a question to all the department heads, and we're like, what do you guys, ask your employees, what do you guys get asked all the time? We asked for like 2 to 3 suggestions from everybody and probably got 10 to 15. So then we went through and tried to just pick 1 or 2 from every department to use those. So we do have a pretty good list to evolve off of, but it came all from department heads and their employees.
Thanks. Questions for Maggie?
Mayor, we'll just say one thing. Maggie didn't mention it at the beginning, but this public opinion survey was facilitated with Oakland University. We said that, but Saharish did that component, and then Maggie did the internal Interaction Troy team train test. Saharish is off with an injury and therefore not able to come. So Maggie filled in on that section as well. So we want everyone to know that. And, Maggie did a great job.
Good job. Councilmember. I guess my only question, I heard they sent this to 1,000 Troy residents by random pick, and obviously Oakland University felt that was a good number to draw from. I didn't get one.
I know your opinions.
Any other questions from council? Councilwoman Porter.
On the library feedback, where you were talking about the technology, there was also the sentence about layout. Is that two different things?
It was-
Layout of the building and technology?
Yeah, it was kind of, yeah, it was one comment, it was a single comment from one person addressing two different needs.
So one was technology and one was the building, and both under the umbrella of this is dated, it needs to be
Correct.
updated.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you.
Don't see anybody here from the public that's interested in providing comment this evening. Councilman Teets.
Yep. I want to thank all the city staff for doing this. Doing a survey every 17 years is good. I'm glad that we're being responsive. Hopefully in less than 2 years, we'll do another survey. Or else Eddie, I guess, will be finishing up his freshman year in college. But it's great. This is fantastic, and lots of useful data and open-ended response in here. So that's only good, and congratulate you all, because there's oftentimes a hesitation to look at ourselves honestly in the mirror, and you're always concerned, well, this won't look good. But any organization, any business does this all the time, and they find their own warts and own issues, and so bully for you, and it's only good for the citizens, so thanks.
Any other comments?
Mayor,
Councilwoman Porter.
just, I think Councilman Teets was teasing a little bit. It hasn't been 17 years since the city took a good look at it, so there've been surveys along the way that we looked at. I just want to be clear.
Yeah, I know, when we asked the ICMA to take a look at the city, they did a survey, and I think the library has provided some surveys to us quite often, so I'm sure that was tongue-in-cheek. But it was nice to see what happened in 1998. And not a lot changed. Technology's got a little better, but I think the citizens look for the same thing: good roads, technology, a lot of similar. I remember, I don't know if it was 98 or not, but there was a bond issue that was passed for the roads. And I think it came about from that survey that 80-some% would be willing to fund roads through bonds. So it's always good to get opinions and see what everyone's thinking, for sure.
Mayor, could we just find out if we did mail those CD-ROMs out? Cindy, were you here? We didn't do it?
The schools were doing that. They had a CD, they didn't mail them, but they had a CD to new families moving in. That's where the idea came from.
We did something with CDs, I remember that somewhere, didn't we?
Council packets used to be on CDs.
Council packets got delivered to your house and with a CD, yeah. Well, thanks to all the staff for being here tonight that didn't get an opportunity to speak. Did we want them to each speak tonight?
If do you have a specific question? We, typically the public safety and the police on the beat and the library technology. I think they're all things that we've talked a lot about, and data-driven, decisions that the chief does, and the technology that Kathy's doing at the library. We can have them do a full presentation if you want, but I think you're well-versed in all that's happening.
Thanks for coming. We're adjourned. I'll see you at 7:30.
Thank you.